It's Tuesday night. It's time for another show. Welcome to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And you can listen to this show on WQEE 99.1 FM, the key out of Noonan, home of Southern Sports. We have got a jam-packed show. This is episode 706, just in case you keep a score at home. And on the show today, the Atlanta Braves cut their magic number to 2, clinching the division as they defeated the Phillies. Today, Aaron Rodgers, it is official. He is out for the season with a torn Achilles. What does that mean for his future? And do the New York Jets stick with Zach Wilson, or do they go out and try to sign a veteran quarterback? And I had fun with this because I put a poll on my X page of who the Jets should sign. And the answers are fascinating. And then I'm also going to talk about some of the high school football that's happening this weekend and also college football. It is week 3. There's not a whole lot of buzz because we don't have any ranked teams going on. And then the NFL. I had my rankings yesterday. I said that the 49ers right now are the best team in the NFL, but, I could be wrong. The Rams might be just dominant and the 49ers might come back to earth. But the Atlanta Falcons do play the Green Bay Packers. They are a slight underdog in that game. They are playing at home. It's just a great time. This is where we have football. It is absolutely incredible. But I want to go ahead and say on this show, I wanted to get this out here because I worked for Ignite Sports. And so this came out. So on September 24th at historic Golden Park from 5 to 7, they will have what's called Home Runs for Hudson, as this is a home run derby to benefit the 4-year-old Grayson Napier. For those of you who don't know the situation, Grayson, he was known into the community as Baby G from Phoenix City. He is the lone survivor of a horrific car crash that happened in Phoenix City, killing his father, Jimmy Napier Jr. A lot of people in the Jordan community knew exactly who Jimmy was, and his wife as well, Amy, and his brother Hudson. Is just a horrible tragedy. And if there's anything that we can do in this community, it's just to help the healing process. Come on out to historic Golden Park, 5 to 7, September 24th. Kids ages 9 through 12 are asked to bring bats and gloves to participate. And we're hoping to raise some money as the Chattahoochee Strength and Conditioning coach Chasen Perry and Ignite Sports are hosting Home Runs for Hudson. So come on out. It's going to be a great event, and looking forward to it. Also, it was announced earlier today that the middle school and high school football awards luncheon presented by Sports Visions will be at the St. Luke's Ministry Center on December the 7th at 11:30 in the morning. DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer, they always do a great event hosting it. Jack Patterson from WRBL, Tyler Redmond, Jonathan Hoppy, Tony Reese from WTVM, they're always there. I've been a part of several of them. The St. Mark Basketball Awards luncheon I was a part of, and then the Female Awards luncheon I was a part of. I did not get to go to the football one last year, but I'm really looking forward to attending the Football Awards luncheon. I'm going to try to make it into my busy schedule because I think it's important just to give these kids in this community local coverage they deserve. And I really am blessed to be a part of it. And, I've been doing this broadcasting thing for about 2 years now. I know that a lot of the veterans in this industry have been doing it for 10 years. And really the gold standard, well, he just happened to have a show earlier this evening, the Late Kick podcast with Josh Pate. He has always been the gold standard, and he has been a role model of mine. And I know that Thrift Behringer and we talk about how the work ethic of Josh Pate and how he grinds. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to continue to grind. I'm going to continue to produce a show because I have a show on WQEE 5 days a week. And now that this is presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live, some of the fascinating content that Thrift Behringer and I produce, I want to try to get that on the radio station as well. We actually just had our Georgia Alabama Sports Live sports show earlier this evening, and special guest was DJ Jones, and it felt surreal because even though we were all doing it virtual and we weren't in the Sports Vision's studio, we were doing this through StreamYard, and I got to thinking this was absolutely awesome that I got to be a part of. Felt like an additional Sports Vision show on a Tuesday, and it was great, and I was glad that I was a part of it. All right, let's talk about the Braves because Matt Olson. I was checking to see if he actually had broke the home run record, the single season home run record set by Andrew Jones. 6-5, top of the ninth inning. I'll try to get a final for you very soon, as Matt Olson has tied the record. He's got 51 home runs. Remember, it was about a year and a half ago where Braves fans were just getting all upset that they did not re-sign Freddie Freeman. After the World Series parade, Dansby Swanson came out and said, hey, I might get in trouble for saying this, but you need to sign Freddie. Freddie Freeman was the heart and soul of the Atlanta Braves since 2010, and they let him walk to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Just a horrific move. But they get Matt Olson, a local guy from Atlanta that came over to the Braves in a trade by the Oakland Athletics. And he has just been absolutely amazing. I believe the Braves got the better deal. They got the younger player. They got the player that really is playing on another level. And Matt Olson, 51 home runs. And Ronald Acuna Jr. is not playing all that bad either. He's got 36 home runs and 65 stolen bases, and he's a candidate for MVP. So the Braves have two candidates for MVP. As we getting in mid-September pretty soon, we have postseason baseball in the beginning of October, and I cannot wait. I actually I talk about the Braves on this show, but if you really want to get content about the Atlanta Braves, I suggest that you listen to Braves on Deck with Tyler Redmond. Tyler Redmond, WRBL sports anchor, knows what he's talking about when it comes to the Braves. He's got all the knowledge that you need for your Atlanta Braves coverage. And I appreciate Tyler Redmond. He's been a friend of this show. He's been on several times. By the way, the episode that we did earlier in the year, in January of 2023, it's the third most listened to episode of all time. I've had 706 episodes. When Tyler Redmond came on his first time, it was really an introduction to Tyler. It's got the third most views, listens. The third most listens. This was back when I was just doing an audio only podcast. I'm actually starting to implement video podcasts now. Absolutely incredible. I suggest you go listen to it. He really paints a broad picture of his story. I think it's fascinating that a 16-year-old would just sit in the press box with Bobby Z, because that's what he wanted to do since high school. Yes, in hindsight, I wish I could have went back and been in the studio with the press box with Bobby Z back in 2015. I did move to Columbus in 2015. I didn't even realize that was something I could have done. But I don't have any regrets. I'm just happy that I'm doing broadcasting going on 2 years now. And I'm going to continue grinding and just giving you great content and working with Thrift Behringer at Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We were having such a blast. And I just love working for a great company that really wants to give back to the community and cover all these kids in these high school athletics. And so it really has been fun. All right. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers, because I know if you are a New York Jets fan, it seems like the whole world is against you. Here we go again. Another quarterback getting injured. You had Vinny Testaverde in 1998. You had Chad Pennington. Now Aaron Rodgers. I mean, something's got to give. What is going on in New York? Yes, they did win the game against Buffalo in a walk-off punt return, but it felt like their season is over. And now they have given the keys to the franchise to Zach Wilson. I thought the Jets defense looked fantastic. They look better this year compared to last year. And Breece Hall, he is healthy and he is back. and the New York Jets have some pretty good weapons. But Aaron Rodgers, he's out for the season. Do the New York Jets let Zach Wilson start the rest of the games? Remember, they drafted him number 2 because they thought he was going to be the quarterback of the future. Or do they go and get a free agent that's out on the market? Here's some suggestions. If they choose to go that route, let's have a little fun with this. Why not call Tom Brady out of retirement? Yeah, I know that meme has got a lot of laughs. But here's the realistic choice: Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz, I know there's talks Cam Newton, Nick Foles. You have Matt Ryan. I don't think Matt Ryan's given up his broadcasting job. You even Colin Kaepernick. I mean, that's crazy. He hasn't played since 2016. But the reality is that they're probably going to let Zach Wilson start. And that is very worrisome if you're a Jets fan, because of his performance last year. The Jets were in a lot of games. They won a lot of games in spite of their quarterback. And I know Jets fans were happy that Aaron Rodgers was here. There was even some Jets fans that thought that Aaron Rodgers is good enough to get them to a Super Bowl, and that's how good Aaron Rodgers is. Is Aaron Rodgers' career over? Well, he's 38 years old. So these Achilles injuries, it takes a little bit longer to heal. But Aaron Rodgers said he's coming back in 2024. So Jets will get to have Aaron Rodgers in 2024. And they're going to keep their draft pick. They're not going to give it to the Packers because Aaron Rodgers was supposed to play 60% of the snaps in order for the Packers to get their number 1 draft pick for next year. So that is a bright spot. They need to fix that offensive line. Dwayne Brown is getting up there in age. They need to draft a left tackle in this upcoming draft. That has got to be priority number 1. Fix the offensive line, and I think the Jets will be fine. Aaron Rodgers will come back in 2024, and then who knows? The Jets might have the pieces to make the Super Bowl. But this year, I think the season's over, and they're 1-0. I mean, that's really hard to believe. That's a concept that I cannot wrap my head around. Anyway, moving on to college football. We have got so many games. There's no ranked games, but there are some intriguing games that I want to sit on the couch and watch. Definitely South Carolina and Georgia. For the first time, the other 2 games I was just watching on my phone, just keeping an eye on the score. Tennessee and Florida, it's lost some of its lackluster. But I still think that this is a fascinating game. You know that Tennessee has not beaten Florida in the swamp since 2003. And in the last 20 years, Tennessee has only beaten Florida twice. I think that Kansas State, Missouri game is fascinating. By the way, Josh Pate is going to be there, the Once Upon a Saturday tour. And then College Game Day is going to be at Boulder, Colorado, because you got Colorado State taking on Colorado. Colorado is still a national story. That's somebody to keep an eye on. But I also want to talk about some of the local teams around the area. Georgia Tech is taking on Ole Miss, 7:30 on the SEC network. Let's see. We got South Carolina, Georgia, Northwestern taking on Duke. You got Washington taking on Michigan State. Both teams are 2-0. Georgia State is on the road taking on UNC Charlotte. Georgia State is 2-0. Samford coming to the Plains taking on the Auburn Tigers, who are 2-0, but they really survived and advanced. James Madison taking on Troy. And you also have the Backyard Brawl, Pitt and West Virginia, both teams 1-0. You got Sacramento State taking on Stanford. So you got the new coach of Stanford. He used to coach at Sacramento State. And Sacramento State, one of the top teams in the FCS, going to Stanford. That was always a big game when I was growing up as a kid. Anytime Sacramento State got to play Stanford. So, in Alabama, taking on South Florida in Tampa. That's going to be a very interesting game. And then I'm trying to see, Georgia Southern on the road taking on Wisconsin. Wisconsin is 1-1. All right. FCS. I always want to try to give love to the FCS schools, especially the ones in Georgia like Kennesaw State, Mercer. They always want to get some love because we have our college football favorites. We have our teams that we root for. Furman is taking on Kennesaw State at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. That is going to be 5 o'clock on ESPN Plus. I do miss living up there. I haven't lived up there since 2015, but I gotta say, Columbus is now my home, and maybe one day we'll get a football team. Maybe Columbus State will get a football team and they'll play at the FCS level. But it's going to be a long time coming. I don't know if there's going to be a possibility for that. I mean, we could definitely advocate it. We have the players in this city to advocate that. I just wanted to bring that up. And then I'm looking to see the Citadel plays Chattanooga. I'm trying to see when Mercer plays. I think Mercer's on a bye. So yeah, Mercer is definitely on a bye. I think Mercer playing in the Southern Conference. Don't forget West Georgia. West Georgia's coming to FCS Division One, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait just to see all these teams in action. But I just want to get on, and after having the show that I did for Georgia Alabama Sports Live, because I do a show 5 days a week on WQEE, and I plan on having my high school football show and all that jazz. Thank you, everybody, once again for listening and watching another episode of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. I am your host, Richard Holdridge, and it has been a great evening, and I hope that you all have a wonderful night, and we will talk to you next time. All right, so what we are going to do now, because this is an hour-long show, I'm going to sign off on Facebook Live, but stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break for the radio station, and then when we come back, I'm going to air the scoreboard show that Thrift Behringer and I did on Sunday night for Georgia Alabama Sports Live. You don't want to go anywhere. It's a Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. We will be right back.